So let's bring in that Utah resident behind the signs, Jordan Smith. Jordan, thank you so much for giving us some of your time today. I think we might be having a little bit of trouble with your signal. Hopefully we can still hear you, though. We'll see if you're still there, Jordan. Talk about your yard sign, why you decided to put these signs up.
Yeah, I think the big thing is the conversation. We're being told here in Utah that we're in a drought. Many local cities are asking us all to cut back on water consumption, water usage. Governor Cox declared the state of Utah in a drought, so the entire state's being asked to cut back 10%. And some of it is just some inconsistencies with what we're being told, and then watching these massive projects get approved really without any oversight, without any environmental impact study. And too often it seems politicians come out and do something, and then after the outrage is there, then they're like, hey, let's reduce the size of the data center. Oh, let's reduce the scope. And a lot of the citizens, especially here in Utah, feel like we're always on the outside looking in. So what exactly is the benefit here for citizens here in the state when a massive project like this is rolled out? There's enormous tax benefits, and for the billionaires, and the citizens are asked to give subsidies. And what's in it really for the citizens, and where exactly does this put us in this whole thing? So what I did was I came up with a yard sign. I was talking with a friend, and it often felt like we're powerless. And first I complained, and I said, oh, complaining isn't going to do anything. And sometimes the best way to get people's attention is with satire. So that's why I decided to come up with the sign and put the sign out there. And the response has been overwhelming. News organizations have reached out. Many people have purchased the signs. And we're starting to have some real conversations about water usage in the state, data centers, and where the citizens of each state fit in with this.
Yeah, really important conversation there, too. So since I know this is a satirical sign, but are you actually using more water than you would when it comes to these restrictions?
I'm about, using the same amount that I typically would. But I think, every home could technically qualify as a data center. We have a home office. We're using internet. We're streaming things. So where's the tax break for the regular person? The big corporations get huge tax breaks, and this has been talked about a lot, but where's the benefit for the regular citizen? We don't get to use additional water. We're being told to cut back, and I think the conversation should be, where is that water going? The area that they intend to build these data centers is up near Locomotive Springs. For the last 30 years, that area has been basically drying up, those aquifers there, and the governor gets on and says, oh, well, this is somehow going to refill the Great Salt Lake. The Great Salt Lake, it's a huge problem. As a local real estate agent here, I'm fighting for my clients. I'm fighting for the hypocrisy that, hey, you can't use water, and meanwhile businesses and churches are watering at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I've, never met a sidewalk that, was too hot to walk on, but they'll water the heck out of those sidewalks at 3 p.m. And so if the state, thinks that we're in a drought, why are state buildings consistently being seen watering on the sidewalk? Why are massive infrastructure projects just getting greenlit without some sort of study showing how this will impact the state and, the future generations that are going to have to deal with this? Once a data center is built, there's no way you're pulling back and just going to be able to undo it.
Yeah, so Jordan, let's listen to what Kevin O'Leary is saying about this planned project there in Utah.
The new era data center is far more efficient, much smaller footprint, doesn't use as much water, if any. Sometimes it's air cooled. And so that's what permeated into Utah and has caused the problem. But I think as we get the real facts out, we'll turn this around.
All right, so Jordan, my question for you, that was Kevin O'Leary just this morning on Morning in America. But do you think this local proposed Stratus project there in Box Elder County in Utah, again, we're talking about a massive, massive data center here. Do you think that will end up moving forward?
It appears so. It doesn't seem that there's much that the public can really do. There's been some referendums, and I know that there's been a lot of people who, when they go and file to get permission to move forward, there's basically pushback, and then they'll cancel the request. And at the state level, the state gets to keep all of those processing or filing fees for those applications, and I think it's just a matter of time that they're going to push forward. This is the disconnect, though, between the politicians and the regular citizens. I know Kevin O'Leary's been on tape saying, "Oh, this is people from China who are pushing opposition to this." I'm not a Chinese citizen. I'm just a regular, everyday person who actually hates politics and doesn't like getting involved politically. But when something like this comes up that's going to impact so many future generations, it's a problem. There's, a bird refuge really close to where this is going to be in the Hansel Valley. I think that's going to be impacted. Those birds need, dark night skies to be able to migrate. And even though he says, oh, this is going to be, closed loop and it's going to be self-sustaining with a background in science, nothing is truly a closed loop.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Can we bring up that statement again that we just showed there, Kevin O'Leary's statement, which talks about sustainability? There we go. So there are a few sentences there. I want to just focus in on that second to last one. So sustainability is at the heart of what we do in terms of all these proposals. We're searching for the best technology. You're a resident there in Utah, Jordan. This is my last question for you. But do you believe, from everything that you've seen, from the debate, from the back and forth, that sustainability is really at the heart of all of this?
I don't believe so. And I don't think citizens here in Utah believe that. That's why there's been such opposition. There were not people being bussed in or paid by China, like he says. These are regular, everyday folks. And that's why this is, set off a nerve here in Utah, is because it's only after there's opposition, after there's pushback, that people like Kevin O'Leary want to go and say, oh, yeah, we're going to do all these studies. Show us those studies before. Show us how long an environmental impact study was done, because I know when we built a family cabin, we had to have months-long environmental impact study, and the power was 35 feet away. So if we had to go through that type of environmental impact to say it wasn't going to disrupt the environment, birds, show me the studies, show Utahns the studies. And if he's so adamant about this, he should go build it in his own backyard, because here in Utah, we don't want it.
All right, the Utah data center man, Jordan Smith, really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate you.